Hi guys, it's Baby Peach and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi. Let's just hop right to it. I believe we should be at our date with Sheila. After cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little I realized I was still on edge. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I had been so stiff with nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee. Here you go, iced coffee on the house. Just bring this coupon with you to the register and it'll be no charge. My patheticness really knew no bounds, but since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Even though it had started out as such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I had completely ruined it. But really, you saved my hide there. I've really come to see you as reliable. Even I was scared, but Kei-chan was in trouble, so I had to be brave and do my best. While a little embarrassed by what she said, Shion made a show of folding her arms boldly. Shion, really, thank you. I was thanking Shion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really, thank you. Now, cheer up a little. If you feel indebted, then when you have the chance, you should help somebody in need. Like, for example, if I'm ever in trouble, please come and save me. Ah, yeah, of course. It's a promise. You absolutely have to. Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise. So if I'm ever in trouble, Kei-chan will come and save me. I hope trouble comes soon. Ah, you finally smiled. She said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek. A downtrodden Kei-chan is as good as an imposter. Come on, smile, smile. That tickles. Stop. Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of that incident finally began to relax a little. When you're in a better mood, don't you get a little hungry? I'm kind of hungry, so I want to eat some pancakes or something. Do you want some too, Kei-chan? I wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint really wasn't my thing. That's why I replied without any. They're good, right? I'm pretty picky when it comes to pancakes. Don't worry. Our pancakes have a really good reputation. Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kinda weird. Hey, speaking of that, wasn't Shion in the middle of a shift? She's been slacking off while talking to me. I told my uncle that you saved me when I was surrounded by hoodlums, so he's rewarding you. So I have the manager's permission. That's exactly the opposite of what happened. Is that alright? It's perfectly fine. By the time the pancakes arrived, we had entered into a relaxed conversation. As the 2 of us ate pancakes, we livened up the mood with some chit-chat. About what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. Hobbies, food, really nothing more than idle chit-chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey now, that's funny talk, KT Maibara. Shion and Mion are the same person. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Mion admitted she was Mion. But given that, how come our conversation was this different? Kei-chan, you don't think of my sister as a girl, do you? That's not true. If she were a guy, I'd punch the living daylights out of her. I think the reason you guys get along so well is because you have that kind of platonic relationship. That's a pretty rare and enviable thing to have, don't you think? I don't get what you're saying, but it really would be a waste to treat her like a girl. Hey, Kei-chan, that's sexist. Hearing the word sexist was cause for introspection. What was I prejudiced against Mion and Shion for? Mion was Mion. She was the best friend a guy could have, no reservations, and head and shoulders above me when it came to club activities. If I had met her 5 years earlier, my life would have probably been a lot more fun. Of this, I had no doubt. Then what about Shion? She was Mion's little sister, and it hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Her relationship was much more distant, as the only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. And for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met 3 days ago, only because I was a friend of her sister's. The difference between Mion and Shion? Friendliness? Familiarity? Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I had stopped listening to Shion. Hypothetically, okay? Are you listening? Sorry. Yeah, I'm listening. This is just a hypothetical question, okay? Both me and my sister are in trouble, okay? We're dangling off the side of a cliff. Which one of us do you save? You can only save one. She wasn't saying it to tease me, but it had a playful tone behind her voice. That's not a nice question. I want to save you both, but I can't do that, right? Right. You can only save either Shion or Mion. Who do you save? If it were Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as it's something she could easily get herself out of. But what about the normal frail Shion? I guess I'd have no choice. It's not my sister, right? If Mion and Shion were different people, I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm nor deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze was locked firmly to mine. In other words, that's it, isn't it? My sister is... Huh. Sorry, I messed up with what I was trying to say. Shion was trying to talk in a light-hearted manner, but I felt that there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put a finger on exactly what it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation around. More importantly, just now, were you surprised when everybody kept showing up? Of course I was. If it were Reina or Satoko, that would have been one thing, but for all those people, young and old, to gather, they were all from Hinamizawa, right? Yeah, that's right. Everybody in Hinamizawa is pretty close-knit. An enemy of one is an enemy of all. Nobody is going to look on from the sidelines. They're a pretty reliable group of residents. If somebody is being picked on, then everybody unites to get rid of the bully. It kinda sounds like the Mafia or the Yakuza's brand of unity. You shouldn't say something like that. It's something you should be thankful for. You were saved by that unity, weren't you? Never forget to show your appreciation. I half-heartedly agreed. I knew full well I should be appreciative. Everybody really is close-knit, aren't they? Maybe it's because of tradition. Hinamizawa has been in danger of becoming a ghost town on several occasions. There's been a history of the villagers uniting together each time to fight for the village's continued existence. For example, Kei-chan, did you know about the Hinamizawa Dam Project? Hinamizawa Dam Project. Let's see, I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before. About 10 years ago, there was a sudden proposal to build a dam here, which would have submerged Hinamizawa underwater. Oh, that story. I think I heard my dad talk about that. But I'm pretty sure that the plan was cancelled, right? We made them cancel it. Everybody banded together. So that was a well-earned victory. That sounded pretty much like the story I heard. The protest intensified to the point where it was featured in newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended. The whole story with the dam apparently started before I was born. At first, the proposal was only the exploratory purposes for a small dam to control erosion. But then the cat was let out of the bag. If it were completed, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Hinamizawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went so far as to go to the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. The previous landowner sued the government, stating there was inconsistencies in the purchase agreement and the transaction should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired land split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project. It was all very precious when the land acquisition was all about money. Eventually, they started relying on eminent domain in order to seize land. I started at that point. The riot police began to get violent. Riot police? You mean the police? Why would they act violent? They punched, they kicked. There was a time I was hit, right around here I think. My skin split open and a whole lot of blood spilled out. Saying that, Shion indicated her temple by poking at it. But what happened to the police? Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kinda strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed to something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you, and they could justify their actions by saying you were interfering with police duties. My Nana went off like a firework. After that, it was just amazing. Like a full-scale war. We weren't just going to sit by and idly file complaints. We went on the offense. First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in court. Then, in order to gain public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Hinamizawa was a valuable nature preserve. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying that the prefectural governor ignored his constitutes. When he approved the project and demanded his resignation, they completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Hinamizawa, a ferocious conflict worthy of being called the Dam War began. In order to suppress the police's brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special expose themed around the government repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffed. Day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamizawa. Either that bore fruit, or the government finally decided against it. It was announced that the dam project was indefinitely suspended just a few years ago. We did everything we could. The entire village banded together and fought. At that time, we were desperate. But now that it's over, it's actually become a pretty good memory. The villagers' feelings of solidarity and unity still haven't faded. Shion said that as she focused off into the distance. I felt that those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride. That kind of solidarity is pretty nice. You don't see it too often, bridging the generation gap and unifying the region. I think so too. The dam project was a trial. I think that just the fact we were able to overcome it is huge. The fear I was feeling until now just gradually began to fade. When people began to show up one after another while I was engaged with those thugs, I thought it was frightening. But now I felt from the bottom of my heart that I had been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death. The sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem impudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been in Hinamizawa when the protest against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share in the sense of solidarity. Kei-chan, you weren't here at that time, so I don't think you can fully feel the solidarity in the village, but everybody shares it, thoroughly. Even when somebody who just moved here, like you, Kei-chan, she couldn't have been more right. So many people get together to help me out when I just moved here, even though they were strangers whose names I didn't even know. A hot feeling began welling up inside of me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. I thought that was natural. But here, there was an absurd and pathetic thing. Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was acutely aware of those feelings as they gradually welled up inside of me. Sonozaki-san, the manager wants you to work the floor. A more senior waitress waved her hand and called out to Shion. It seemed like it was time to work. Okay, I'm coming. Sorry, looks like I have to get to work now. It's fine. Thanks for hanging out with me, it was fun. Oh, are you going home? Yeah, my mom gets fussy if I'm not home by dinner time. It seemed that Shion wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we hadn't talked enough, that kind of feeling. Looking at that expression, I regretted saying something that had disappointed Mion like that. I was about to say that I could stay for a little bit longer when Shion got up from her seat. Here, if you use the coupon, it should cover the pancakes as well. Saying that, she showed me a coupon booklet as she tore out a few sheets and handed them to me. Convenient, isn't it? It's a perk I get on top of my salary. It's okay, I can pay for the pancakes myself. Hey, being so reserved doesn't fit you, Kei-chan. If I were my sister, you would gladly let me pay for it, she said as she laughed gently, stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile really resounded with me. Sonozaki-san, sorry, could you take care of the register? Yes, right away. Later, today was fun, saying that Shion smiled one more time at me. Oh, Mion, thanks a lot for today, I owe you one. If you really think that, then return the favor. I'm looking forward to it. After I said it, I realized I mistakenly called her Mion. I didn't know if she realized it or not. Okay guys, and with that, we're gonna end today's episode here. That was interesting learning about the dam project. Who is your favorite twin, Shion or Mion so far? Tell me in the comments. If you're listening on the podcast, please make sure to rate. It helps out. Leave a review. And if you want to check out the visuals along with it, Baby Peach Anime is my main YouTube channel, and that's where you're gonna find these videos. Okay guys, have a nice day. See you in the next one. Bye.